Hi, my name is Megan, and this is Everything Lit. And today, this is going to be a reading vlog, and I don't know when this video is going to go up. If my eyes look puffy, it's because they are. I've been going through a hard time lately, so we're going to read a horror book, because that makes sense, am I right? So, if you don't know, don't do a squeaks. Don't do it. Gotta block my lap off so that no one can come up here, because as soon as I start talking, they think I'm talking to them. I'm not talking to you. So in this vlog, I'm going to be reading Chuck Tingle's traditionally published debut, Camp Damascus. If you don't know who Chuck Tingle is, oh my gosh, he is an internet legend. Actually, I don't know if he is the right pronoun. We'll just say they are an internet legend. Squeaks, I swear to God. Squeaks! Sir. Hold please. So, Chuck Tingle is an internet legend because up till this point, they are a self-published king. He's known for books like Pounded in the Butt by My Own Butt and, what's the one? Pounded in the Butt by the Unicorn Ghost Colonel from the Civil War. Just absolutely batshit titles. And what's really fun is when I was in grad school, we had a class about the publishing industry, and we did these presentations on the big five or indie publishers, and each group was assigned a certain type of publisher. And my group did self-published, and you can bet your bottom dollar that I taught my whole cohort of master's students about Chuck Tingle and his self-publishing prowess. An absolute icon. He has been nominated for 2 Hugo Awards, and his philosophy is that love is real. You know, we should be kind to each other, having a good trot, being a good bud, and not being taken in by the evil lonesome train. So I follow Chuck Tingle on Tumblr and Twitter. Think he's an absolute legend, and I am so excited. I don't support Amazon. I don't love Amazon. I have bought a couple of his bind-ups of several of his stories, and I definitely bought the Pounded by Shark Billionaires or something. Absolutely. Oh, Megalodons. They were Megalodon billionaires. So in the past, I have broken my Amazon ban to buy his books. That's how much I adore Chuck Tingle. So I am so excited that he has a traditionally published book out that I can buy at Barnes & Noble instead of supporting Amazon, and a lot of his bind-ups, because once he binds them into a paperback, I think he can sell them on other distributing websites. So I can get Chuck Tingle books at barnesandnoble.com. Very excited about that. Need to make my collection bigger. But Camp Damascus is horror, and it is blurbed by so many famous people: N.K. Jemisin and T. Kingfisher and Marco Shiro and Sarah Gailey, all of these heavy hitters in the fantasy and horror genres. And so I am so excited to read this. It is about a girl who lives in Montana, and I think it has to do with conversion camps. I'm just going to read you the little blurb because I don't really know. So it says, "Welcome to a God-fearing community with a heart of gold. Nestled high up in the mountains is Camp Damascus, the self-proclaimed most effective gay conversion camp in the country. Here, a life free from sin awaits, but the secret behind the success is anything but holy." Okay, I'm in. And I think this girl starts barfing butterflies, moths? I don't know. I'm very excited to start reading it. I'm going to do that today. And in my grieving process, which we're not going to talk about, but I'm grieving, I've been buying a shit ton of bookmarks from Etsy. So this is the bookmark I'm going to use because it's a rainbow, and it's kind of thick. It's a resin bookmark, and this is from the Sparkling Quill on Etsy, and I'll link it down below if you want one. The beads are just everything. I'm a little afraid that the tassel is going to get ruined by cats, but that's okay. You know, it's been living for a couple days. As long as I keep it away from the cats, we're going to be good. This is the plan, and this isn't a super long book. It's about 250 pages. and I'll update you when I get started. Okay, so I just finished filming my mid-year book freakout tag, and I wanted to do a little update on Camp Damascus. I am 24 pages in, so not very far, just into the setup. Our main character, Rose, is definitely autistic coded. I don't know, it'll probably be stated, I've read some reviews that she is autistic, but we can definitely get that from the sort of thought process. There's a moment where her best friend is, having some internal struggle and being very different and very weird, and she can't figure out what the problem is, and then he kisses her, and so that's very sudden. So she's graduating high school, she just turned 20, and her parents are very religious. She is very religious. They do seem very loving, and they are kind of excited or pushing her towards Christian ideal of, getting married and having a family. And so they ask her about this date with her best friend, and she didn't realize it was a date. So that was an interesting moment. And then she, at the dinner table, vomits up flies. And it kind of comes out of nowhere. She says this thing oh yeah, he's nice. And she's kind of trying to please her parents. And then this eruption of flies is out on the dinner table. And her parents, they help her clean it up. And they are like, you know what? Maybe you swallowed a bug at the lake. It's fine. Totally normal. God works in mysterious ways. Let's order pizza. And they kind of brush it off. So that's in the first 25 pages that this happened. So it is taking off at a fast pace, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And I'm pretty sure I showed you my beautiful glittery resin bookmark. I have 2 more resin bookmarks coming. And so I figured I'd do a little bookmark haul, because I've bought several bookmarks over the past week. I'm calling them my grief bookmarks, but I do want to first show this bookmark with my kitties. So you can see Diva, Whiskey, and Vino are all on here. So this was a Secret Santa gift from one of my coworkers, and I love it very much. And then I need some context here for this bookmark. So this is Doobie. And this is a bookmark I made when I was 5 in Girl Scouts. You can see my name on the back. Megan is all that's a 5-year-old wrote that. So I've been using this bookmark for years and years and years. And in 6th grade, a kid that I sat near pulled this bookmark out and said, "Oh, this is cool. You should name him. Does he have a name?" And I was like, "Oh, no, actually he doesn't." He was like, "You should name him Doobie." And I was like, "Oh, that's a cute name. Doobie. He looks, like Doobie Doobie Doo." In my brain, did not at all think about how that's connected to smoking weed, like a joint, like a doobie, so little 11-year-old me was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna name him Doobie." So this is Doobie. And then I saw these glittery gummy worm bookmarks, and you can see it's very glittery. It's purple and green. There's one face, it's kind of yawning, and there's another face smiling. And this is going to be Doobie's older brother or older sister, I don't know. And their name is Spliff. I just thought that would be so funny. So you got Spliff and Doobie. And that's my sense of humor. So I got that gummy worm bookmark, and I will link all the creators down below. I think this is by Sour Goblin. And then I bought a whole set of celestial cat bookmarks, which are really beautiful. So you've got purpley pink one, this dark blue one, and they're all black cats. This purple one, oh, maybe I should use the one with the butterfly moth things for Camp Damascus. And then this orange one. So I bought this whole set, and these are all from Wildflower Bookmarks. And so is this Hemingway quote. I love Hemingway. And it says, we are all broken. That's how the light gets in. And I think it's a good bookmark. And then I bought this Eras Tour bookmark. There were several really pretty ones, but this one says Eras Tour, and then each of the books has the title of Taylor's albums. So I got this, and then I got one for 2 of my friends, because we all went to the Eras Tour together at the beginning of June. So I got one for each of us so we can kind of remember it. So these are all from Wildflower Bookmarks. So the next one, I got an intuitively chosen Villains Tarot, and let me take it out of the package because it's going to be really shiny. So I didn't get to pick this one, which was very exciting, and I really like the idea of, getting a surprise bookmark. So it is a Villains Tarot, and it is Scar from The Lion King, and he's the King of Swords, which is a very interesting choice because they also sent like a little reasoning with it. And it says, King of Swords, Scar prides himself on getting the lion's share of the brains in the family. Likewise, the King of Swords is a methodical, calculating leader who never lets personal feelings get in the way of his goals. This tarot card advises you to rein in your emotions and let logic guide you, which is a wild thing to get when you're grieving. Like, rein in your emotions. I think it's just so funny that this is what I got. Very interesting. Like, don't let emotions get in the way of your goals. Like, I don't know, like, don't give up just because you're grieving. Very interesting. So that's the intuitively chosen tarot. Of course, I got like a spooky one. I smell books instead of kids, and it's double-sided. So I had to get a spooky one. And I do have a whole set of like spooky ones coming, but those are not here yet because I bought them at a different time from all these. And then I'm currently using this other one. So these three are all from the same creator, and I cannot remember their name. I think it's like got Quill in it somewhere. But this is Little Miss Buys More Books When There Are Plenty at Home to Read. I'm using it right now, and this vlog ain't about this. It's about this. And so I'll update you maybe around the 75 to 100 page mark when things start getting more intense. Oh, and one more bookmark I almost forgot. My roommate gave me this bookmark. She got it with a set of pins, and I'll have to get the creator from her, but it is a Captive Prince bookmark. And so this side says a kingdom, or this, which is it hits if you know what I mean. And then this side, I didn't realize the second side had something different, and it says, to get what you want, you have to know exactly how much you are willing to give up. Love Captive Prince. Hello. I am about 100 pages into Camp Damascus. I low-key forgot I was filming this. It is very spooky. It is very creepy. There are demons. My own little demon just came to say hi. Hi, Reno. Bonk. It's really... Buddy. What are you doing? What are you doing? He was sleeping on the chair earlier, and as soon as I start talking, he's like, wait, who are you talking to if not me? So, our main character has witnessed some things. I think in the first 20 pages, she threw up flies, so that's happened a couple other times. And it's a lot of religious stuff, a lot of religious, like, dread happening, like people being like, well, you just need to stay away from temptation, and you just need to be aware of temptation, be careful of temptation. And our main character is kind of like, temptation of what? Like, she doesn't really understand. She's like, what am I tempted by? So she hasn't put the pieces together yet, but we did have a interesting interaction with a girl whose name we don't even know. I tend not to read, like, I read 10 or 15 minutes of this before bed, and then I read something else, because if I read just this before bed, I feel like it could give me nightmares. The tone is very ominous and foreboding, and these creepy things are happening. I'm enjoying it. I think it's very interesting. I think for someone who grew up in a religious household, or in a religious, like, who grew up with religion, I think this might hit harder or do more for them, but I'm enjoying it as, you know, a heathen. I am 130 pages into Camp Damascus. It's kind of a slower read for me. Oh, Bino just stretched. He's so sweet. It has a really interesting discussion about complicity when you are part of a religion that does, you know, that hosts gay conversion camps, or, you know, does horrible things. The complicity of that, and being like unaware that these horrible things are going on, still, like, you're still complicit. And this, our main character Rose, is kind of learning that and being horrified by it. And I guess my one complaint, the one thing that I'm a little bit struggling with, is how quickly everything is moving and how self-assured Rose is. Like, there's a lot less waffling than I would almost expect. There's a lot less denial than I would almost expect. Just because at the beginning of the book she seems so deeply entrenched in her faith and hasn't seen a lot of classics or hasn't read classics because her parents didn't let her, and she's part of this faith and she's supposed to be this like very good girl. But I guess as the story goes on, you kind of know that isn't, things aren't what they seem anyway, so it kind of makes sense, but it's still just moving a little fast and there's less waffling than I would expect. I did get confirmation that she is autistic. She mentioned it, so it's not just coded. She is on the page autistic, so it's very scary. And I say that as like a chicken. I'm a big old chicken. This is spooky. There are demons. There are like coughing up flies. Like, disgusting. I don't read that much horror, but the amount of time that she spent in a hospital after an accident was surprising. I feel like a lot of horror that I read, like, it's scary, but there are no physical consequences. No one actually gets hurt for a while. They either die or they don't get hurt. But she was hurt, and I'm interested to see where it's gonna go because things are ramping up. I have like 100 pages left, maybe less, maybe like 70, and it's spooky. I'm gonna read something else for 10 minutes because it's late at night and I don't want to go to sleep with this on my mind. I am 150 pages into Camp Damascus now. Whiskey, what are you doing? He's caught on the curtain. He's gonna take the whole curtain down. Anyway, our main character Rose has met a friend. Things are really taking off plot-wise. The like anger adventure part is coming to the forefront. It's a lot less horror, or maybe this is like the lull before a lot of bad stuff goes down. There are demons and spooky things and queer kids banding together to take the system down. It's very good. I'm glad it's daytime and I want to kind of finish it today because reading it at night was getting a little rough. Some of the spooky things would happen and then I'd turn off the lights and I'd be like, are there demons? Are there? No. Squeaks don't do it. They're calling this a full-length novel, but it is reading like a novella. Things move fast in this story. One of the super interesting things that Camp Damascus is doing is, it's grappling with religion and organized religion versus faith in a higher power, but it's also talking about hell and hell mythos and like what hell is. And what's so smart as a horror novel is, I guess, for some horror, if you are going to show people being brutalized or frightening images or things, your horror images need to make sense for your plot, right? If people are being tortured, why are they being tortured? If there are grotesque bodies, why? And I feel like for a lot of horror, the point is to answer that question, like, why are people seeing this? Why are people being hurt this way? What's happening? And for a book that interrogates or reflects on religion, there was something that really scary that just happened, and the justification is hell. Hell. You don't have to have a why other than like, That's probably what hell looks like. And that is so smart as a horror novel to have that kind of catch-all for frightening images. I do think there's going to be a why in here. I have like on page 173, so I've got like 80 pages left, and I do think there's going to be a bit more of a why and what we're seeing and what's going on, because it feels like it's building toward that. But I just think it's also super smart because you can show these scary things and you've got to catch all why. Why is this scary thing happening? Why is this image so grotesque? Like, that's what happens in hell, I guess. And I think that's really smart. It may also be a red herring. It might also be a red herring, that like, oh, this is happening because it's hell, but there might be other things. And I'm excited to see what's happening. I have finished Camp Damascus, and let's talk about it. I think that this is a really great horror novella. I think they're calling it a novel. It's about 240 pages. It seems a little quick, a little short. So I don't know what it's officially called, but as someone who doesn't read a ton of horror, this was just the right amount of gross, horrifying, horrific images, weird things happening. It wasn't over the top, like no animals died, but it also wasn't dumbed down. And I think this book achieved what it set out to achieve and like gave the messages that it wanted to. This is about religious trauma and how being queer and having that religious upbringing, it can alienate you from your friends and your family. And some people, one of the side characters, Saul, he still finds faith in, like, he still has faith. He doesn't follow the Kingdom of the Pine doctrine, but he still goes to church every Sunday and he still believes in a divine plan. Whereas our main character really goes from one opposite to the other. She's all in and then she's all out, and she kind of mentions that toward the end about how she would like to have balance in her life instead of going from one extreme to another. So I gave this a 4.5 stars and rounded up to 5 on Goodreads because I really liked it. I thought the characters were good, I thought the messages were good, I thought the action and the horror and the plot, it all made sense. It all came together to give this message and this idea. There is autism rep in here, and I can't speak to how well it was done, but the reason I didn't give this a full 5 stars is because I do think that more could have happened, more could have been done. I think this world could have been expanded. It moved very quickly, right? Our character figured out some stuff and then figured out this and it moved pretty quickly, especially the last like 100 pages. That's really the only reason it's not a 5 star for me, is that I think it could have spent more time in these characters' heads in dealing with this traumatic thing. I don't know if the mystery of like what's going on could have lasted longer, because that may have gotten boring, but I think there was potential for more spooky, creepy, weird things to happen. I'm not a huge horror girly either, so I found it, like, I was sitting there thinking, I kind of want to give this 5 stars, but in my heart, it doesn't feel like a favorite book for me. It doesn't feel like a 5-star read for me. This did what it wanted to do, and it did it well. And that's the highest praise you can really give a book, right? And there was a moment toward the end where, like, the religious plot and the themes of this are pretty in your face. They're pretty obvious. Our main character thinks in very, like, black and white terms. I don't think this book is very subtle. I wouldn't call it subtle. But there are quiet, like, character moments or like subtle moments that really mean a lot to the character, and if you're paying attention, they kind of like, they get you. And this one example that I want to talk about, it's not a spoiler, but there's a scene where our main character, Rose, is remembering a time with this girl Willow, and they are dancing with headphones on, like a silent rave, and just chilling. And then there's a scene toward the end where Willow plays her music out loud on the stereo and says like, screw her neighbors. And I think it was just such a great illustration, or a great metaphor, analogy. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is here, but just a great moment to really emphasize and illustrate how they've been living quietly and trying not to make other people feel uncomfortable by hiding away a part of themselves. And music plays a really large role in this book in terms of building the characters and how they listen to their music and how loud it is. And I thought that was just really interesting. It makes you think about, like, it just makes me think about the craft of writing and how even something as simple as like how your character listens to music can tell things about your character, and the way you use it in relation to everything else you're talking about in the book can help build your themes. You know, like, it just hit me like such a small moment, but it played into the theme of living your life and living authentically, I guess, which I kind of hate that phrase, like living authentically, but like not hiding who you love or your queerness or your self-expression to make other people comfortable. I really like this. I cannot wait to see what else Chuck Tingle does in the traditional publishing sphere. I'm really am interested now in the Harriet Porber series, which is basically a big middle finger to J.K. Rowling. Like, it's satire, it's fantasy, and Harriet Porber is a transgender wizard. And like, I think I need to go order that, or at least buy it in ebook form. We'll see. Because like, Chuck Tingle really is out here trying to just prove that love is real and you shouldn't listen to the call of the lonesome train. His mind, amazing. And the end of this was very action-packed, very tense, stressful, and awesome. I love this. Might be well, it's not spooky season yet, but this might be one of my favorite horror books of all time, ? Like, I'm not a huge horror girly, but this was the perfect amount of horror for me. And that's the vlog. Let me know if you have read anything by Chuck Tingle. I would love to hear about it. And if you like this video, if you're interested in seeing what else I read, you could subscribe, but really, you can do whatever you want. And I'll see you next time.